National Land Commission, hours after the chaotic scenes at the school, came out to state that the land belongs to the school. Sentiments they reiterated this morning during a visit to the school.
And we confirmed that this land belongs to Langata Primary School.
We have confirmed beyond reasonable doubt that this parcel belongs to Langata Road Primary School.
Uhuru says their declaration came rather late.
Where was the Ministry of Lands? Where was the National Land Commission to come and tell us yesterday that the school belongs to the land? Why didn't you tell us that before? Those two in the respective ministries will also be held to account.
The president also wants action taken against the head teacher of the Langata Road Primary School.
How do you allow your students to go and demolish walls? What if that wall fell on those children?
The Ministry of Lands and the National Land Commission say the land was allocated to the school in 1975, but recent records show that it belongs to the Airport View Housing Limited. They could not, however, name the individuals behind the company.
In time, we will now go to the Attorney General and we'll be able to get the names.
Learning at the school started after the first day of the term was disrupted on Monday. The man under whose docket the police fall, Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Nkaiseri, visited the school. And the pupils got a rather unusual apology from the retired Major General.
Yes. So I have come to apologize.
Nkaiseri says the government will fence off the land and level the playground for the pupils. He gave the private developer 24 hours to clear the debris and any other materials. Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero says action will be taken against City Council officers who gave the developer the go-ahead to put up a wall.
I think what we have on record is application to put up a wall, which unfortunately, because of the documentations that were presented, not taking into account the original documents of 1975, were given an approval.
The Law Society of Kenya, which on Monday constituted a team of 11 lawyers to push for the prosecution of officers who tear-gassed the pupils, visited the school to launch their investigations.
We will be undertaking to look at who are the police that violated the rights of the children.
Despite all the tough talk on the action to be taken against the police, the head teacher, Ministry of Lands, the National Land Commission and City Hall officials, there was no mention whatsoever of what action will be taken against the private developer, the genesis of it all. And the mysterious developer, it appears, may be let off the hook, even with the government's much-touted zero tolerance to corruption policy. Rita Tinina, KTN, Nairobi.
Well, a lot of reaction coming left, right and center about this issue, and a promise coming from the highest office in the land, from the president himself, saying action will be taken against the lands ministry. And tonight, on the big question, we are asking you, do you think any action will actually be taken against the lands cabinet secretary over the Langata fiasco?
Of course, saying and doing are often two different things, right?
Absolutely.
And tonight we're asking you, if you think that will actually happen, do share your thoughts with us. And you can do that by sending an SMS to 22155. Remember to start with a yes or a no when you do that, so we're able to compile your thoughts into a poll result, which we'll share with you much later. Or you can tweet us at KTN Kenya, at Kachungira, and at Wilson_Mburu. We look forward to hearing what you have to say. Now, yesterday's events at the Langata Road Primary School have triggered, like we said, a lot of debate, but they've also raised a lot of questions. But caught between the grown-up actors in the fiasco are children who were simply following instructions and hoping for a resolution to the land-grabbing saga. Let's now get into the mind of a pupil and hear what they might say if they had a chance to speak about that chaotic Monday.
Dear teacher, I write this letter to you with a heavy heart. 3 of my friends are still receiving treatment in hospital, and you know why. On the 19th of January, after you boycotted class for 2 weeks, I came to school ready to learn. However, a normal Monday turned out into my worst horrifying days. That's the day I came to understand just what tear gas is and how badly it can make you cough and cry. Honestly, teacher, I expected a lot from you. On this day that the police and the activists came and disorganized our school timetable, I expected you to protect me, but you didn't. Just watching the news in the evening, I came to realize just how much our lives were in danger when we watched as we brought down a stone wall. That wall may have come down and really hurt my friends and I. I remember my classmates and I running helter-skelter inside our school and the time we were trying to bring this gate down. I will never forget that moment when things became so bad. Police threw tear gas at us. We were so confused, didn't know where to run to. It was just like a movie. That was the danger zone. Where were you? Maybe you will have led us back to our class or showed us what to do. From what you taught me, I know harming someone is very wrong, but I remember seeing this policeman in a lot of pain after someone threw a stone at him. Teacher, on this day, were you in control? As much as we appreciated the help by the activists to fight for our rights, why did you let it go that far?
So want to encourage our private sector to also invest in our secondary education so that we can be able to widen opportunities for our children.
Putting up private institutions is something that the private sector is currently doing. But it cannot do that in an environment of frustration, because the government at the moment is frustrating the private investors of education.
According to the ministry, Form 1 selection was guided by the principles of equity and fairness that guaranteed every child a fair chance of placement. The selection criteria included merit, candidate's choice, and district quota computed on the basis of the sub-county's candidature strength. Out of the 103 national schools, Alliance Girls, Alliance Boys, and Mangu High School were preferred schools with an overwhelming candidate choice of between 148,000 to 156,000.
The reason is basically infrastructure, because our schools have remained the 18 national schools we know. If we are to make that school which was admitted at the national level to compete with the well-established national schools, let us give them more funding. Let us give them enough teachers.
Secondary school heads were advised against raising school fees, but strictly adhere to the ministry's February 2014 circular on school fees.
County schools will do their Form 1 selections between January 26th and 27th. Form 1s are expected in school between January 2nd and 13th this year. Patrick Amimo, KTN, at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Nairobi.
So more than 200,000 candidates will miss Form 1 places. Definitely something that would cause parents a certain amount of angst. But there is a certain group of parents who have definitely expressed their disappointment. And we're talking about parents at Miguye Primary School in Kisumu County. Today they stormed the school and forcefully evicted teachers over claims of poor performance. The teachers scampered away through the fence to seek refuge in the neighborhood as the head teacher locked himself in his office. Najma Ismail has the details.
When he heard they were after him, the principal of Muguye Primary School in Kisumu County locked himself inside his office to avoid the wrath of the angry parents. But eventually, the agitated parents made their way inside and dragged him out in front of the gazing eyes of the people.
With a vision to pursue a, quote, peaceful, prosperous and globally competitive Kenya, end of quote, the country's foreign policy finds bases on 5 pillars. That is peace, economic, diaspora, environmental and cultural diplomacy pillars. Kenya hopes to promote its citizens' access to the international labor market, an aspiration which the Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed says looks promising.
We've been offered 100,000 jobs from the UAE as a result of that direct intervention that you made in the UAE.
There has been a history of reported abuse on Kenyan emigrant workers in Saudi Arabia, reports of gross abuse by their foreign employers.
The policy we're launching today seeks to address the key constraints facing our diaspora, especially the high cost of remitting money, inadequate capacity to offer consular services, inadequate mechanisms of protecting Kenyans in the diaspora, weak structures to inform Kenyans in the diaspora of investment opportunities here at home, and the lack of an integrated database on Kenyans abroad.
However, the policy as published does not detail methods in place, if any, meant to protect such workers. While the 100,000 job opportunities promised would go a long way in curbing unemployment in the country, the government has often been criticized for failing to take any meaningful diplomatic intervention for Kenyan workers suffering at the hands of foreign employers. The government says the Kenya diaspora policy is aimed at including the population of about 3 million Kenyans living abroad into the national development process.
As part of the mechanism to ensure that our diaspora is fully integrated into the national development process, the Deputy President launched the Diaspora Web Portal in October of last year. This is an online one-stop information facility that provides an avenue for registration of Kenyan diaspora and a reference for investment and employment opportunities.
The launch of these two documents marks a historic point in the country, and perhaps the question now is, will these two policies work to make Kenya a stronger social, economic and political unit in the international system? Sharma Manyi, KTN, Nairobi.
Well, away from that, mystery surrounds the fatal shooting of an imam in Likoni, Mombasa County by unknown assailants yesterday. There was tension when relatives and friends of the deceased arrived at the Coast Provincial General Hospital mortuary to collect the body of the slain imam for burial. Police refused to grant them access to the body until a post-mortem exam on the body was carried out. Relatives and a civil society group, Haki Africa, said that Imam Juma Ali Mwamdigoe was shot at a construction site where he was working.
Na la kusikitisha pia ni kwamba katika sisi Waislamu hatuna time ya kuwekana. Pia tumejaribu kuwa tupate hiyo mwili tuende tukaistiri, lakini tunapata kwamba wakubwa wa polisi pale Inuka wanaweka vikwazo kiasi ambacho hivi sasa wanatutatiza, sijui mambo wafanye nini, sijui wafanye nini, mambo ambayo si yale mambo ya kawaida.
Pigwa risasi, kulingana na wale waliokuwepo ni alipigwa risasi 4, moja ya kichwa, moja kifua na 2 katika sehemu za miguu. Marehemu Mwamdigoe alikuwa mwalimu wa madrasa.
You're watching KTN Prime. Now, Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen says all parties affiliated to the Jubilee coalition will cease to exist just before the next general election.
Murkomen says that the Jubilee Alliance Party has been in existence and will accommodate all Jubilee affiliates.
You're speaking to KTN's Aaron Ochieng.
Pleasure to have you, Senator Murkomen, on the show. Probably you should start by telling us this new party, the Jubilee Alliance Party, where has it come from?
The party was not formed. It existed. But what has been done is to rebrand an existing party and give it impetus and a lease of life by basically giving a statement of intention that come 2017 we will wind up these other political parties and all of us will join our coalition party called Jubilee Alliance Party, and that the process of winding up these other parties so that we can join the one bigger house has begun. And it starts by fielding one candidate in Kajiado. It starts by building that house, by putting the necessary political structures in place. And then it will lead to the culmination of the National Delegates Conference of the respective coalition party members to wind up now the party and join the other coalition.
Going by your argument, would it be easy to disband the other affiliate parties of Jubilee?
It's not easy to, generally, it's not easy to take people to unfamiliar territories, because it wasn't easy for us to form URP. It wasn't also easy to tell people we are going to combine URP and TNA. So nothing is easy in politics. Just like it wasn't easy for NOR to convince people that it was going to rain and that there was need for, collecting, building the ark. But nevertheless, Noah built the ark and became the beacon of hope and secure those who are ready to enter the ark. So the same issue here is that we are forming, the ark has been formed. We think that for our political security in the long run, it's important that the party, Jubilee Alliance Party, becomes a house that is going to accommodate all of us, so that then we can consolidate our democratic gains, and as a testimony of our firm belief in national unity. And it's a philosophy that should also transcend just Jubilee. We are not the pioneers, though. I mean, CORD has attempted, but they have not succeeded. They are still attempting, but we have shown them the way. So this is the route, so that in Kenya we have 2 or 3 political parties that carry national character, proper national character.
What is the implication of having a coalition parties in terms of democratic space of the country? Would it be giving people less options when it comes to democracy?
The thing that should worry many Kenyans is internal party democracy. What should worry them is not that few parties are existing. What should worry people most is that are these few existing parties giving an avenue for all their members to exercise free and democratic environment, that people can feel that they own the party and not that they're being dictated by a few people.
Yourself and Senator Kindiki have been at the forefront in popularizing the Jubilee Alliance Party, and one would argue that both of you are foot soldiers, you being the foot soldier of the Deputy President and Kindiki being the foot soldier of the President. How would you base that argument, and what is the relevance of those who are saying that you're playing a part in advocating for what the Deputy President wants?
We have seen so many arguments out there. Some people tell you that you are becoming a psycho fan of Jubilee, you are doing this. I find that argument very, very, very faulty, because for the simple reason that we all formed Jubilee. Myself and Kindiki are more privileged because we participated in the negotiation and the drafting and signing of the coalition agreement. We all know, we all have the map of where we are going, and we all have a responsibility to ensure that that coalition succeeds. So no one is a psychopath of the other, because we are all Jubilee members. I always joke and say that I actually cannot be a psychopath of Jubilee because I'm Jubilee myself. I'm not even a supporter of Jubilee, I'm Jubilee. It's my responsibility to go and look for supporters. And that responsibility is in all of us. And people say, oh, Murkomen or Kindiki are speaking on behalf of the deputy or the president. Let me be very clear. The deputy president and the president are 2 fine gentlemen, very eloquent, endowed with good command of English, Kiswahili, and their respective mother tongues. And when they want to speak, they will speak.
And confrontation between traders in Thika Town and the administration police has left 3 victims nursing gunshot wounds. The riots that ran throughout Friday and the better part of Saturday were instigated by a county government directive to lock down Thika's Makadara market over claims that the traders had failed to pay their annual rates. But the county government has now revealed that it plans to inspect all markets in Kiambu to remove cartels that dupe traders by asking them not to pay rates.
These were the scenes from Saturday morning's demonstration that saw traders battle fiercely with the area administration police. Thika Town Member of Parliament Alice Nganga was not spared as the police engaged in an all-out brawl with the rioting crowd. But it is the way the police handled the matter that has left many residents here angered. 2 men and 1 woman were shot as police fired live bullets at the demonstrating traders. Alice Koiki is among them. She was admitted here after getting shot in the lower abdomen.
Polisi wakaanza live bullet sasa. Wakafukuza watu. Mimi nikaona nimeshindwa na kukimbia, nikachuchumaa mahali kwa kibanda. Mama mmoja akatokezea pande hii, akanishoot. Sasa baada ya kujisalimisha niwaambia wamenishoot, huyo mama akaniambia ondoka hapa ama nikumalizie. Nitakugonga ya kichwa, ondoka. Ondoka hapa wewe mama.
Wanjohi Mugo was shot in the arm during the same demonstrations.
Wakati saa nilikuwa naenda kukimbia, nikapatikana nikiwa nimepigwa risasi kama napotea.
The area MP decries the brutal force used by the police on the traders. The traders were protesting against the closure of the Makadara market by the county government of Kiambu. The county government of Kiambu is unhappy about the alleged refusal by traders to pay rates.
Tutalipia watoto shule kivipi? Manyumba za wenyewe bado tunasikitika. Manake hakuna ile stock mingi imeharibika, ni ile tu ile ya kuokotea ya kuchukua kidogo imebakia.
This market has for a long time been infested by cartels, very dangerous cartels, and criminal gangs who had actually taken over the market stalls, and they were, charging our traders there.
And now, due to the standoff over the Makadara markets and the payment of rates, the county government of Kiambu has announced it will inspect all markets within the region to remove all cartels that are extorting money from traders. Timothy Otieno, KTN.
A very good evening and welcome back to KTN Business. The government now says it will use the windfall from the low price of oil to expand its development of alternative sources of energy. The statement came amidst growing fears that the falling oil prices might slow down the transition to clean energy. KTN's managing editor Joa Geo is in Abu Dhabi and tells us more of what's happening at an energy summit.
At the opening of the Sustainability Week in Abu Dhabi, only alternatives to oil were supposed to be on the agenda. But oil, with its falling prices, quickly found its way here, as leaders debated what the impact of the falling price of crude would mean for clean energy.
Renewable energy has graduated from an expensive alternative to a competitive technology of choice.
But one area that remains of key concern is transportation, where most of the vehicles are still powered by oil products. An investment in cleaner sources of energy may be slowed down by cheap oil.
Biofuels will be significantly affected by these low oil prices on the short term.
The price of crude oil in the international market has fallen by almost 60% since June last year, owing to what some experts believe is an oversupply and a weak demand in a faltering global economy. In Kenya, fuel prices have fallen by up to 20% in under 6 months as a result. But the government says even the low prices are not low enough to dissuade it from pursuing alternatives to diesel that is currently used to generate some of the electricity in the country.
We are not an oil-producing country, and therefore we need the hard currency to import heavy fuel oil to generate. When you look at renewable, the wind is available locally within our country, solar is available, geothermal is available.
If God gave the Kenyans geothermal and oil price dropped, you don't have to spend. You better do more prospecting on your geothermal because it will go back up again. You don't want to be subject of that. So now that you save, you take that money, you say, fine, now I do the solar revolution in Kenya. Now I do the wind. Now I build my geothermal.
Now, for the moment, there is no telling just how long the slump in oil prices will continue. But for those pushing for a faster transition to renewable energy, the choice now is to either keep their eye on the pump or just run their race. Joageo, KTN, Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates.
Interesting developments there on the oil front. Mortgage lender Housing Finance is set to raise 3.5 billion shillings through a rights issue set to open up next month. Housing Finance has priced the rights issue offer at 30 shillings, a 28.9% discount over 6-month average of its share price. The lender will be offering 106.6 million shares to its ordinary shareholders at the rate of 1 new ordinary share for every 2 held. Last year, Housing Finance scrapped plans to raise 20 billion shillings through a bond citing at the time the high interest rates, opting instead for a rights issue. It is expected that the mortgage lender will use the funds raised to expand its lending ability. According to a Central Bank and World Bank report, the country requires close to 210,000 new houses built annually, but only 50,000 units are churned out. The rights issue opens on February the 13th and closes on the 13th of March. Moving on, the push to raise the involvement of Kenyans living in the diaspora today received a boost after the government unveiled the first ever diaspora policy document. The policy is geared towards improving the investment climate and offer financial incentives that will allow Kenyans working abroad to take part in the country's economic agenda. Here's more on that story. The rate at which diaspora remittances have continued to grow has grasped the attention of the government. Remittances as of 2013 stood at close to 120 billion shillings, steadily rising from about 90 billion shillings in the previous year. 2014 figures are tipped to be much way higher, underlying the need by the government to create a framework to engage with those working abroad.
Given the abundance of skilled, knowledgeable and patriotic Kenyans outside our borders, it is now a matter of the highest priority to integrate the diaspora into our national development agenda.
That the diaspora, which is an important part of our social and economic fabric, has huge potential to positively contribute to the growth of our economy. In spite of this, the Kenyan diaspora faces critical challenges. The policy we are launching today seeks to address the key constraints facing our diaspora.
It is estimated that about 3 million people live and work in the diaspora. This is a figure that the government says it will no longer ignore, and they're putting up measures in place to tap into the close to 133 billion shillings that is sent annually by Kenyans living in the diaspora. The just launched policy spells out how those abroad can actively engage in economic activities currently being implemented in the country. The policy will also chart the way forward when it comes to matters relating to curbing the high cost of remittances, improving consular services, using Kenyans abroad to promote tourism and tapping into diaspora talents, among others. Guided by the policy, the government will establish an online web portal to facilitate collection of data and profiles of Kenyans living abroad for proper planning and engagement. It is still unclear of how the government will fund the proposed interventions enumerated in the policy document. A number of Kenyans working abroad have in the past lacked financial channels to invest back home. This has over time seen a majority of them pumping money into traditional asset classes such as real estate. Banks have joined the bandwagon and have also been luring those in the diaspora with investment products. And as the cogs of change continue to blow, Kenyans working abroad will be keenly monitoring whether the new policy will play to their advantage or not. Abiagina, KTN Business. And now to some good news to farmers. Smallholder farmers across Africa are set to benefit from a 4.5 billion shillings fund set up by the Mastercard Foundation. Innovative farmers will qualify for loans from the Global Payments Farm to expand their farm production. Mastercard says the finances will help improve the lives of smallholder farmers by enabling startups or expansion of financial services in rural areas in sub-Saharan Africa. The fund is expected to stimulate private sector organizations to provide affordable financial services, thus enabling farmers to increase their productivity and income.
And well, it's time for KTN Sports. I'm Lynn Washira. And first things first, after an energy-sapping week 8 of the Kenya Cup action, the stakes are now higher as teams continue to battle out for the coveted Kenya rugby title. Defending champions Top Fry Nakuru are top of the log with 39 points. But as Moses Wahisi reports, this weekend's matches are expected to get even tougher.
After an action-packed Kenya Cup Game Week 8 energy-sapping extravaganza, defending champions Top Fry Nakuru cemented their stay on top of the log as a resilient Strathmore Leos got their first season's beating. With 8 matches down, Top Fry Nakuru, who have accumulated 39 points, stayed on top of the log after their 36-29 bonus win over Total Nondis. Last season's runners-up, KCB, having accumulated 39 points, moved second after their 28-15 bonus point win over Mwamba RFC. Homeboys, who are unbeaten in 2015, moved to the 6th position after handing third-placed Pan-African Strathmoluse their first defeat of the season, courtesy of an 18-15 result. An impressive Cabras Sugar won the Kakamega Derby and consolidated their grip on the 4th place with 30 points after their 17-6 win over Western Bulls. Mwamba RFC, aside racing for the playoff qualification, closes the top 5 log, having accumulated 25 points, with 5 points being bonus points. The Kenya Cup action is expected to take the center stage on 24th January, where KCB will host Homeboys RFC. Defending champions Nakuru RFC will welcome their perennial rivals Mwamba RFC at the Nakuru Athletics Club. Title chasers Strathmoluse will lock horns with Kenya Harlequins, while Cabras Sugar will host Total Nondis. 9th place Blackbird will have a tight battle against Impala as Catholic Monks tries to entertain struggling Mean Machine. Western Bulls will also be up against Mombasa Sports Club. Moses Wahisi, KTN Sports.
And to some football news now, where after weeks of speculations, FC Leopards official sponsor Mumias Sugar has revealed that they are not walking away from the team. The club unveiled its 2015 playing kit as well as an official company that will help the side in merchandise distribution.
There have been reports that Mumias Sugar could sever its relationship with one of the country's oldest club, AFC Leopards, due to the company restructuring and AFC Leopards' poor show last season. However, the company has moved to allay fears that it will walk away from the club, insisting that they are in for the long haul.
There's been a lot of speculation, talk about Mumias Sugar and AFC, but I'm here to reaffirm that we are going to be with AFC, we are going to work together and probably engage even more in terms of making sure that the club as well as the team holds up the name AFC.
The good news came as the club unveiled its new Leopards colors. The club has signed up with a company that will distribute its merchandise to its huge fan base. The 2-year deal includes getting equipment and profit from the sale of the merchandise.
Edge Sports and Apparel's business is to ensure that clubs like AFC are able to commercialize their fanatical fan support through sales of replicas, but also remove the hassle and the cost of a club procuring equipment.
AFC Leopards finished 7th last season with 41 points and is now tired of living in the shadows of their Shemeji Gor Mahia, who bagged the Tusker Premier League title twice in a row. The club's management has been under intense pressure to deliver and has now asked fans to be patient.
We are now telling our players and everyone, all the fans, all the support, to come and give us, as the office, to run the club and give it, to put the brand on top.
The league is expected to kick off mid next month. Hassan Juma, KTN Sports.
Well, those are your views. Thank you very much for your participation on our BQ. Thank you very much for joining us on KTN Prime. My name is Wilson Buru. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.
William Silla was our sign language interpreter tonight. And I am Nancy Kachingira. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Same time, same place. Good night for now.